Welcome back. Well, exit polls seem to be pointing to a direction in which Congress will be split. The implications, clearly something that investors will be watching out for. And for more, I'm pleased to say we're joined by Brian Riedl, who is Senior Fellow in Budget, Tax, and Economics at the Manhattan Institute for Policy Research. And prior to that, he also worked as Chief Economist to Republican Senator Rob Portman. And he joins us from Alexandria, Virginia. Brian, great to have you on the show. I want to get into all the budget implications that we are facing now. But first, as you are almost sitting in Washington, D.C., give us your assessment of the results we've had so far tonight.
Well, I think it's been a good night for the Democrats as expected. It looks like, they're going to take the House, which was the main goal they've had. But the Republicans look to be picking up seats in the Senate, not just holding, but picking up seats, which means that on the Republican side, they're actually a little pleasantly surprised. I think the blue wave is not as large as Republicans feared. And that means Republicans may come to work tomorrow actually feeling emboldened by the results. I think President Trump may become more aggressive and see this as more vindication because they're not going to lose the 60 House seats like we saw flip in like the Democrats lost in 2010, and when we're not going to see the Republicans lose the Senate. So I think the Democrats are going to have some joy over winning the Senate, and the Republicans are going to say this could have been a lot worse.
Yes, no surprise, Brian. Everyone in Washington likes to declare a win, no doubt about that one. But let's talk about what happens next, because this outcome that we expect is really in line with the market expectations. I am curious, though, because one outlier we were looking at as to whether or not Republicans did better, what implications this would have for additional stimulus measures. I mean, what do you think we're going to get here? Because we have seen President Trump talk about perhaps another tax cut, future tax extensions to the previous tax cut, that is. In this divided Congress, what do you expect?
We're going to get gridlock and lots of gridlock. Republicans have been talking about tax cuts 2.0. That's dead. Even extending the tax cuts that were passed last year is not going to happen. On the flip side, the Democrats have come in all guns blazing, proposing about $42 trillion over 10 years in new spending. That's obviously not going to happen either. So when you have Democrats wanting to push up spending and Republicans looking to cut taxes, you're really just going to see both parties positioning for the 2020 presidential race. Most of what we hear on tax and budget policy is going to be with an eye towards winning the presidency in 2020 and implementing it in 2021. What that means for the budget deficit, $779 billion in the year that just ended, probably going to keep heading towards $1 trillion next year, and on that pace for $2 trillion over the next 10 years. We're not going to see a lot of stimulus, but we're not going to see a lot of fiscal consolidation either. It's going to be a lot of gridlock.
And Brian, looking ahead over the next 2 years, are there any areas that you see where we might see some progress? Because looking at the exit polls, we saw that healthcare, immigration, and of course the economy were the top three issues really that the voters were thinking of when they went to the polls. And the question, of course, going forward, obviously we know foreign policy, we always talk a big game about it ahead of these elections, and generally we don't see it really playing out in the numbers afterwards. But is there a room for the president here, given this gridlock that you're anticipating?
Well, you mentioned issues like healthcare and immigration. The parties are a mile apart on those issues. And in that situation, there's no sense of compromise because both parties still believe that they're one or two elections away from winning everything and being able to dictate what they want. So both parties are going to try to wait each other out. The areas where you might see the parties coming together a bit were, as mentioned earlier, infrastructure, where there is a push to do something. I think Republicans and Democrats both want to put some more money into infrastructure, possibly trade. President Trump has taken a protectionist bent. A lot of the Democrats who are winning elections tonight, like Sherrod Brown getting reelected handily in Ohio, have run on a lot of protectionist anti-trade rhetoric as well. So you might see the parties come together a bit more on protectionism. Infrastructure, you might see more. On the big issues, though, such as taxes, immigration, healthcare, both parties are content to just fight it out through 2020 and hope that they can win a royal flush on Election Day for 2021.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.